Hello, American Patriots, and welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places you could be tonight, but you chose to be here, and for that, I am forever grateful. Tonight, we're going to continue discussing the situation on our border with Mexico. My friends, to tell you that it is getting out of control would be an understatement. Matter of fact, as I was preparing for the show tonight, breaking news come across Fox at the moment, which I'm sure CNN and MSNBC will not be covering. And that is House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy on Tuesday requested a classified briefing from the FBI and CIA for congressional leadership and Vice President Harris about suspected terrorists that have just been apprehended at the U.S. southern border, sounding the alarm about the number of bad actors that have escaped arrest and could currently be residing in the United States. This week, Customs and Border Protection announced that 2 Yemen men have been apprehended and identified on a terror watch list in El Centro sector in California in the last 2 months. The first arrest in January involved a 33-year-old illegal Yemen who was on both the FBI's terrorism watch list and the no-fly list. The second occurred last week in the same sector. 26-year-old was apprehended. He was on both lists as well. The first was handed over to Immigrations and Customs, while the second was being held in federal custody. I've been saying for quite some time, I've done numerous videos on it before. This is nothing new to most of you. When people want to come across our border illegally, there's a hidden agenda in most cases. Yes, there are people fleeing oppression and are fleeing the cartel and are looking for a better place for their family, to raise their kids. But that's not the majority. The majority can and do go to border checkpoints, and they go through the proper process. I, like most conservatives and Republicans, and at least everyone I know, we welcome those from other countries to America. We're all from other countries. We weren't born here. Most of you, I'm sure, if you were born here, your families weren't originally from America, unless you're Native American. So this is a melting pot, and we want people to come to America. We are the shining example on the hill, but we have bad elements that continue to strive to do bad things and come across the border with sex trafficking of women and children and young boys, drugs, MS-13 gang members, and, as I just read to you, terrorists that are on the no-fly list and are wanted by the FBI. Terrorists, my friends, from the Middle East. When we went down 2 years ago on the border and did our first documentary, we shared some of that with you as well, where Iranians were intercepted. We showed you where we came across some of their garb they had left behind and how we turned it over to the Border Patrol. And we shared with you interviews with Border Patrol agents discussing all those from other countries besides Central and South America and Mexico that are trying to come into America. They can't come in any other way. If they do, they will be apprehended immediately. But they can get into Mexico, Central and South America with ease, and then come on up and join right on in or mix in with a caravan of people that are coming up from the South. This is a dangerous game that the Biden administration is playing right now. It's absolutely horrible what is going on. We've stopped construction on the border wall. We've basically tied the hands of ICE to where they can't do their job. And of course, as you all know, There's the big push to defund law enforcement all across the nation to include our border. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to me, and it should be unacceptable to you as well. So we will continue to discuss the situation down there. I'm going to tell you a little bit before I bring her on about my first guest, Maria Espinoza. She is the national director and co-founder of the Remembrance Project. You guys have heard me talk about the project before. And if you're a follower of the show and have been around for a while since I've been doing this, you've also seen me interview her in the past. As the organization's national leader, Maria speaks in interviews across the country dedicated to the mission of the Remembrance Project. She has worked as a volunteer for over 9 years, informing the public with the truth in order to save lives and to bring some measure of justice to American families whose loved ones were killed by illegal aliens. In 2015, Maria introduced the Angel Moms, Dads and Angel Families, to Donald Trump. Whence he kept his promise to her that, if elected, he would do more for the angel families. And though he created the Office of Voice, Victims of Immigration's Crime and Endangerment upon taking office. Maria has given congressional testimony on national security and has lived and worked in Washington, D.C. for 2 years with her husband, Tim. She is a former candidate for U.S. Congress in Texas and the first Latina to run for office in House District 7. Maria possesses over 12 years in the legal field as a legal assistant and was a project coordinator in commercial real estate development. She is coordinator events for the Shriners Hospital for Children of Houston, college scholarships for cancer survivors, and children with spina bifida and birth defects. Maria studied business administration at Albany Christian University and was ACU's cross-country and track team, where she was an All-American miler. She holds a real estate salesman's license and legal assistant studies at South Texas College Law. I'm going to let her tell you about the Remembrance Project and all the things that she has going on right now that involves what we're discussing. So with that, please welcome Maria. Maria, welcome to the Douglas Ducote Show.
Hi, Doug. Thanks so much for having me on again. Good to speak with you.
You as well. And it was a pleasure getting the opportunity to sit with you and your husband the other night as we watched a mutual friend of ours perform some excellent, great, outstanding music.
He's fantastic. Yes, it was a pleasure to meet with you and your wife too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's start with the breaking news. I don't know if you had heard that. I was reading it as we were getting ready to come live, where once again we have terrorists that have been apprehended on the southern border.
Right.
This is just, it's mind-boggling to me, and I know it is to you too, and to all the angel families that have, those that have lost loved ones to violence from illegal immigrants. But now here we are with people that want to do violence to all Americans,
right?
Known terrorists.
Right, exactly. I did see that headline, but you know, the Remembrance Project, as you know, Doug, is a voice for the voiceless. Those are fellow Americans who were killed by people in the country illegally, by illegal aliens. And this is our 12th year. Sadly, this is our 12th year. And my husband and I, you know, Tim and I thought naively that, you know, we would be out of business in 2 or 3 years because then our elected officials would know that we did not have a secure border and that our current laws were not being enforced upon those here without permission. And here we are 12 years later. And even after President Trump recognized our organization and reached out to our families, you know, it's been 6 years now, Doug, and we still have a wide open border, much worse than before. Now we understand that they are just walking across. So to all your viewers out there, understand that our country is being invaded right now as we speak. And, you know, So these two individuals, these terrorists who were on these watch lists, that's more of what has been going on, and we really don't know who is here. But yet this Biden administration, this resident in the White House, because he's not our president, he was not elected, the elections were stolen. And, he's not doing anything about it. But we've known this for years, Doug, and we've been sounding an alarm. We've had angel moms and dads going up to the state of Texas testifying, all the way to Washington, D.C. And simply they don't care. They're not unwilling to put us, the Americans, first.
Yeah. My wife and I, when we were up in Washington, D.C. 2 years ago, for several different events, we were very blessed to meet a large group of angel families and hearing their stories. And for me, and I know for my wife as well, it was very touching to hear what they've had to go through. And then I look at it now, the situation that we're currently in, and how it just doesn't seem to be getting fixed in any way, shape, or form. And when there has been, for instance, in the 4 years of the Trump administration, while there was progress made, the guy had to fight tooth and nail,
Right.
and so did Republicans and conservatives to get anything accomplished.
That's the problem here, Doug, because we lived and worked in D.C. for 2 years right after President Trump was elected. However, the holdup was the Republicans, because we had the majority in both chambers. We had the majority in the House, majority in the Senate. We had America First president. There is absolutely no excuse for them to stand down and to create obstacles and oppose this president when he was trying basically to enforce our laws and follow our Constitution. And I can tell you that I took 4 angel mothers to former Speaker Paul Ryan's home in Janesville, Wisconsin. And he absolutely did not even come out of his door even to extend his condolences to these mothers. And some had only children. So this tells you that the Democrats are completely lost. They are far leftist radicals. They won't even meet with us. In fact, the Democrat Party here in Texas kicked us out when they first accepted our application for a booth several years ago. Then they kicked us out. So we know we can't even get a meeting with them. But the Republicans absolutely have no excuse. They've sold out to the businesses, U.S. Chambers of Commerce right here in Houston. There are 2 millionaires, David Weekley Home Builders and Perry Home Builders, we've been going toe to toe with since day one. So it's time, Doug, for the people to rise up and absolutely not sit down and be heard. We are watching our country be destroyed, invaded, our laws not enforced, meaning that our Constitution is not being enforced. And that is what we have to hold on to. That is what America is, that creates the American dream. And with that lost, we're in a world of hurt right now. So we have to think outside the box and be creative and not back down, because you can see our officials aren't doing their jobs.
Exactly. You were recently down on the border with retired special agent from ICE, Victor Avila, and I was blessed to have him on my show. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Tell us a little bit about how that press conference went.
Yes, the Remembrance Project held a Law and Order press conference. It was titled Texans for Texas First. And I believe that we are the last line of defense for America's sovereignty. And that's what we were talking about. Is there is legislation right now going through the Texas State House. One bill is HB 2862. That's 2862. And you can go to our website, theremembranceproject.org. We have a petition there, Doug. And what we're asking for is for this bill to be heard. We need Governor Abbott. And right now, he's not willing to support this bill. This bill will create the Border Security Enhancement Fund, which will allow other states to contribute to this fund so that Texas can build the wall. It will be under the Department of Public Safety supervision, and we all have also asked and understand that hopefully that the eminent domain issue will fall into the lap of the Texas Agriculture Commissioner's office. That would be Sid Miller, who is a wonderful patriot and known as Trump's man in Texas. So this bill must be heard. We are asking calls to be made to Governor Abbott, the Speaker of the House, and also the State Affairs Committee Chairman. We all know as conservatives here in Texas, Doug, that if the legislature sends or the Speaker sends the bill to the State Affairs Committee, he has sent it there to die. And we cannot let that happen. And we must have this bill. There's also another bill, the Interstate Compact, which we actually met with Governor Abbott in 2015. And this is the same thing, an avenue by which Texans can put forth a plan. And we have that plan in these bills to secure our border.
Gotcha. And so all of this is on the website for the Remembrance Project.
Right. We are focused on HB 2862 because that can happen now. The Interstate Compact Agreement, if it is passed, it will require Congress's approval. And if we don't win back the House, we know that the Democrats will not support this action.
Let me ask you, I don't know if you know the answer to this question or not, but I know that when we went down to the border and did our documentaries, all 4 times that we were down there, we saw National Guard troops. Most of them were deployed from within Texas. Is that still happening with Trump out of office? Do you know?
Yes, and let's see, it's Lone Star Project. The name slipped my mind here, but Governor Abbott did help out with that, and he did send the National Guard, and we saw them while we were there. You know, we also went to the Donna Detention Center and then to Del Rio. So that is helpful. But Doug, look, when we are accepting everyone and not turning people away, the Biden administration, halted the state remained in Mexico. They also halted the U.S. code under HHS, Title 42, which gave the Border Patrol agents authority to turn back individuals because of these health issues we're having right now. So everyone crossing that border could be turned back if not for the Biden administration pulling back on those orders that President Trump had in place.
Right. And at the same time, they're talking out both sides of their head because we know what's happening from talking to the Border Patrol and talking to law enforcement. And yet we have the Biden administration coming out and saying that, oh, yeah, we're sending them back. As soon as we get them, they're going back, except for family units. And that's not true.
Right. It's not.
The fact that we're being lied to by our own government or by this group of, well, I don't know what's a good word for them other than thugs, because that's how I look at it. Anyone that would be okay with what's happening on our southern border is not American. It's against all American values to put illegal aliens of any sort above American citizens. I can't wrap my head around, especially as a veteran and a former law enforcement officer.
Well, yeah, veterans are on the list to, for their benefits to be curtailed as well and completely cut off, but that's a whole different issue. But I want to tell your viewers out there that there are solutions. So number one is that you have to become active. And this bill is one of them. So go to the remembranceproject.org, sign that petition, and share it with your group as well. Excuse me. And also what we can do, and I'll tell you one idea that some of the ladies in South Texas, I have dubbed them the red bluebonnets, when they heard that at the Hidalgo International Bridge that there was a 3-hour wait because there were so many people from the Mexican side coming across, and all they would have to say is that they are there to give plasma. They are there to give blood. and they walk right into our country to disappear. No one's checking on them. So the lady said, hey, look, that's simple. Why don't we just go close down the plasma center? That's thinking out of your box. And these feisty ladies, they're not going to take this sitting down, because this is our country. It's an invasion, and those people are lying to get into our country. And the Biden administration knows it. And these illegal aliens disappear into our communities. Even the ones, as we know, that we've been talking about for years, Doug, who have notices to appear in court, ignore it.
Yeah, they don't come back.
Never. But they're getting our benefits: free hospitalization, free education, vaccination, incarceration, Doug. Texas alone spends over $38 billion a year on illegal aliens. So let's be creative here and think about that. And look, let's not let the churches get away with this either. When we went to McAllen, evidently the Donna Center is the intake place. They test them for lice and give them a quick checkup. Then they take them to what the locals in McAllen call Tent City, to downtown McAllen. Used to be a nice little plaza and park. Now it's just large tents. They check them in there. They walk them across to the Catholic Charities office, which again, they're using our money as well as taxpayers to bring in illegal aliens. They are processed at Catholic Charities, walk catty corner to the bus station to disappear into your community.
I've said this many times. At the end of the evening, every evening, I think to myself, damn, at least it can't get any worse than it already has. And then I wake up the next day and go, what the hell was I thinking? Because it continues to get worse.
Right.
And
I'm sure Agent Avila mentioned to you that it is going to get worse, and we're going to have more angel moms and dads and angel family members. The emails and text messages that I receive I've never had this many communications in the last 12 years combined as I have in the last 6 years. 6 months, pardon me, 6 months. So that tells you. And more and more families just beside themselves. They don't know what to do. I have a few groups of ladies who want me to come out and speak. I'm to the point that if you're not going to take action with us or with your group, then I'm not going to go and talk to you about something that you already know is the problem. So, I'm telling you, good citizens out there, this is not a political matter. This is about our country. This is not Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Independent. No, this is the sovereignty of our country. And we have nowhere to go, Doug. This is the last beacon of hope and freedom for all the world. And I think your viewers know that.
Yeah, 100%. And I couldn't agree more. It's something that we will continue to push with our show, continue to get the word out there. Sadly, social media is shutting us down everywhere we turn.
Yes.
Twitter banned me for life. Facebook keeps removing my post or saying that they don't meet the fact check when we're talking about things directly from the mouths of the people on the ground there, Border Patrol, for instance. Even some of the Border Patrol people have had their stuff removed from Twitter because the liberals that run these platforms don't want the truth to get out there.
Right. On that note, one of our friends, Mike Lindell, great patriot, he is creating his platform. So that will be Frank Speech, frankspeech.com. But it's also important. I don't want for your viewers to feel overwhelmed, but they can just do something locally. But, local elections are very important. Look at our AG. Your AG out in every state can help battle this. I know in Virginia, there is a great race going on right now for the Attorney General's office. And one of the best candidate, in my opinion, there is Chuck Smith. who is an immigration attorney, so he knows the law. He's a constitutional attorney, a Navy advocate with general.
General,
so it's a JAG, yes. So you know this. And, very experienced, very involved, and cares about this country. He actually spoke at one of our events last year. So he knows about the Remembrance Project and our mission to enforce the laws and follow our Constitution. So local races are very important. No more establishment candidates, Doug. This country cannot afford any more establishment candidates.
I agree 100%. As a reminder, everyone, and I will put this when we're done with the live show and it goes up as a regular video, I will have it in the information section. We want you to go to the remembranceproject.org, and I want you to read this. I want you to look at what's going on there. I want you to pay attention to these names and the people that are involved. Maria, what you're doing is an just unbelievable service to American values, to everything that our forefathers stood for our Constitution. You are a great American patriot. And I hope that you will take back to the Remembrance Project, all the angel families, how much we appreciate what all of you guys are doing and sharing your stories and doing everything to help these families that have had to go through these horrible tragedies that never should have happened.
100%
if we were just doing our job.
You're right. And we're in the courts as well, Doug. So we're not just on the ground in the trenches and press conferences and rallies, but we're in the courts. We have had 2 amicus briefs that were heard before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and one made it all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Excellent. Yeah. Maria, thank you very much. It's a pleasure always. I hope you come back to the show, and I look forward to seeing you and your husband soon down the road.
Absolutely, Doug. And thank you for everything that you're doing, because without you, we wouldn't have a voice. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless you. Well, folks, look, I've been preaching it. I've been talking about it. I've been sharing it. I've been screaming from the top of the mountains about this border. I've done videos sharing with you what will happen if the Democrats took back control. And I thought that, hell, we would at least, keep the Senate, or maybe we could possibly win back the House. It was not even in my radar that we could lose 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, with a guy that towards the very end of the election process, we realized was having some type of a mental breakdown. And we're seeing that unfolding right before our eyes. And we're seeing him put people in charge of border stuff that doesn't know anything about the border and isn't going down there to meet with the people that are doing it. And that would be Kamala Harris, the vice president. What her credentials are for the position that they put her in, I don't know, but I do know that she's not doing anything about it. I do know that she's not meeting with ICE or meeting with the Border Patrol, and that is not acceptable. How do you take a working program and delete it without having something to back it up with, something to replace it with? How do you do that? Nobody does that except this current administration. I remember when the Democrats were all up in arms about Trump was going to do away with Obamacare, and he's got nothing else to replace it with. He's just going to go in there and all these millions of people are going to be without insurance, just like that. And, how dare him do something like this? Well, guess what? Obamacare wasn't done away with. Mandates were done away with. Some things that were really bad, punishing certain Americans for not getting on the program, were done away with. Making it mandatory was done away with. But there wasn't anything that needed to be replaced with. As in this situation, you can't, it's like saying, the penitentiary doors across America and our state and federal penitentiaries, we need new doors. So instead of ordering the new doors and having people there to remove and put in new doors, they just take all the damn doors off and then order the new doors. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do it at your house. You wouldn't take your front door off the hinges and then order yourself a new door. That's kind of the way we're treating the southern border. It's mind-boggling. It's unacceptable. And what's going to happen, and it kills me to know this, is that more people, more American citizens are going to have the title angel family member. There shouldn't be one. And now there's hundreds, thousands that have been killed by illegal aliens. We brought on the show the other day Dan Golvich, who shared his story about his son, Spencer, who was doing nothing wrong. He was sitting at a red light, and a person had been deported several times, walking the street with a handgun, just walked up to the window and shot and killed him, and then went and killed someone else before the day was over with. These stories are gut-wrenching. Imagine having to go through something like that. I've gained an utmost respect for these families, the way they handle themselves and the way that they honor their loved one. The frustration that they must be feeling now with the current situation, where an administration comes in and basically says, we don't give a damn about your family member or you, for that matter. And the Democrats turning them away and not wanting to hear them. And people like AOC and Alihan Omar coming down to the border, but not going and talking with the border agents. Oh no, going to a detention facility and then lying about what they saw when they were too stupid to realize that the whole damn thing was on film. Nobody goes walking through a border patrol facility without being on camera, nor do you go into any jail without being on camera. But these clowns don't care. And neither do those voting for them, because they don't do their homework. They're like sheep, ready to just march right off the cliff, listening to the crazy rhetoric that comes out of their mouths. AOC even went as far as to say that they were intimidating her, and she could see it in their eyes. They were undressing her. I mean, that's sick, twisted mind right there. That's a sitting member of Congress saying this shit about our brave men and women in the Border Patrol. Not to mention the horrible things that they've said about ICE and even the Capitol Police, where AOC said that during the incident that happened at the Capitol, how she felt for her life. And then when a Capitol Police officer rushed in, she didn't know if he was there to save her or turn her over to the mob. I mean, really? Just throwing law enforcement under the bus like that? This guy is there to protect you. Doesn't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. That's his job. And that's the kind of way you're going to treat them? Folks, what we have is Democrats in charge of everything right now. So it's up to you and me. It's up to Republicans and conservatives, or even Democrats that want to come on board and realize that something has to be done with this border. It's got to be secured. And law enforcement has to be able to do their jobs. You can't tie their hands behind their back like they're doing all across this nation right now. It is un-American. It is spitting in the face of all those families that lost a loved one to this violence that never should happen, because we should stop it from happening. We did have, when Trump was president, we had a bunch of militia that were helping out down there and reporting to customs, reporting to border security, where they were seeing people coming across the border in areas that weren't easy accessible to Border Patrol until they got further north, so that they could be there to apprehend them. And then now, after what our Department of Justice and the FBI is doing to those that were part of militia groups, looking at them as domestic terrorists because of a few bad apples that broke some things and entered some areas they shouldn't have at the Capitol, now the militia groups are like, the hell with it. Why do I want to be down there doing this if my own government won't protect me? To my knowledge, we don't have any militia down there at all right now, where we had a lot. We had a lot of brave men and women that were risking their lives and away from their families to help just American citizens wanting to help the current situation that's on our border. And now, why? Why would they attempt that anymore? Facebook went and shut down all their Facebook pages and their groups. And then the FBI is going after them, looking at them as domestic terrorists. While we've got real Muslim domestic terror, now domestic because they're in America, Islamic radical terrorist on the no-fly list, on the list by the FBI, that's been apprehended coming across that border. Now, how many have come across the border that we have not apprehended? That's the bigger question. But yet, to those in Washington, D.C., big deal. Well, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to me. I'm sure it's not acceptable to you. I ask that you go to the remembranceproject.org and you research the good things that are going on over there, the things that Maria is doing with these families, and to all the angel families out there. You are in our thoughts and prayers. At the end of all of my shows, I ask, and I will ask at the end of this show too, that we keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Our family is your family. And I can't stress that strong enough. We mourn with you, we cry with you, and we pray with you. I'd like to again thank my guest, Maria Espinoza, for being on the show tonight. She is a wonderful, true American patriot that is doing some outstanding things to help this country. And all of those that are part of the Remembrance Project, and all those that are doing anything that's taking action, whether it's going in front of Congress or writing letters to your senators or calling them up on the phone, thank you. We can't do enough of it. And we need to continue doing it. We need to flood their emails, flood their Facebook pages, flood their Twitter accounts if you're still on Twitter. I'm not. I'm banned for life. We need to let them know that this is unacceptable and must be fixed. I ask for anyone in Washington, D.C. that's in the political realm of things, go to that border and set up a meeting to meet with the Border Patrol and let them take you out on that border and show you firsthand what we've already experienced. You can go to DouglasDucote.com where you can see the documentaries we've already done on the border. And on my personal YouTube page, Douglas M. Ducote Sr., all the videos are there as well. Please subscribe to this new channel, like it, share the videos, let everybody know about it. We're trying to move everything from the personal YouTube channel over to this one for the show and any important information that comes out that I feel American patriots need to know about, things that I'd want to know about. And we will continue to do our best to bring you the truth and the facts. And, if we get it wrong, and sometimes we do, we apologize and we correct it. Unlike CNN and MSNBC and many of those on the left that just double down on their craziness. Folks, you had many places you could be tonight, but you chose to be here. And for that, I am forever grateful. Please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, their families, our angel families, our Blue and Gold Star families, and our country. We need God to bless America more now than I believe in my 59 years on this planet we've ever needed God. And sadly, the liberals and Democrats are doing everything in their power to remove that power from us. Well, good luck trying that. I do believe in faith. I do believe that in the long run, God is the answer. Yes, we have to do something to assist. I believe that's our calling. I believe it's my calling. I believe that God has me doing what I do for a reason. Sure ain't doing it for the money because I don't get paid to do this. But I want to continue to do my job as an American patriot, as a retired U.S. military veteran, as a veteran law enforcement officer, as an American citizen, to share with you what's happening in this country and across the globe. Thank you all. God bless you. And I'll see you Thursday night right here at 8 p.m. Central for another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. God bless you all and have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed evening.